Hey everybody, it's me Edward Jones, back with a new video, American Ramblings. I don't think I ever have to um, tell anyone that, I love being American. I love this nation. I love the state that I live in, South Carolina. And I guess, despite everything that's happened, in the United States history, I gotta say that this is still, I can't imagine being anywhere else on this earth. I joke around with some friends of mine that said that I would say I can't imagine I can't imagine any other nation that would make it that would that would house such a rebellious SOB like myself. Um, and and it's America is very peculiar. There are plenty of quotes out there, from people all over the world. They come to the United States, and they've met Americans, and interacted with them. Even interacted with some Americans in their home country, and there are plenty of quotes out there about American behavior, Americans' beliefs, how they treat themselves, what they eat, their conduct, things like that. And one of the things I know pre that seems to be of a vast interest from other nations is basically our affinity for firearms, our affinity for guns, weaponry overall. And I figured I came up with some thoughts about why Americans are um, so gung ho about, for the most part, we're so gung ho about um, being armed. So gung ho about about having guns with us just about everywhere we go. Now that's not to say that's not the case for all Americans. I would say just that's a common trait that many people outside of America. Uh, it's a common belief about Americans that they're all cowboys. They're all they all carry guns. It's not the case everywhere. Some people they have their misgivings about firearms. They have they have their opinion about what type or where, when, why not, and things like that. So you know, I'm of that, I'm of the flavor of, I like guns, and I kind of I thought it through for some time, and I think I understand why there is such an affinity for weaponry, especially firearms in the United States, as opposed to other countries. Because usually there's always the conversation about comparing, why can't the United States, adopt the same gun laws as other nations? And there's various reasons that get brought up. Our population, our demographics. Um, there are already hundreds of millions of firearms in circulation right now. The accurate number is pretty unknown. There's estimates between I think I heard somewhere between either 206 million to 330 million. I think it's even double that personally. But yeah, Americans and their affinity for guns. I think it comes about from what the kind of I guess the kind of what does an American environment do to man in a sense. I I think that with all the liberty that we have, I think it allows mankind to basically if man was a wild if mankind was if mankind was still a wild animal, America would basically be the wilderness in the sense that you're free enough within the limitations of nature. You're free enough to do the things that would increase your overall happiness, or at least give you a purpose, give you something to do, something that you can devote your time and energy into, to where you make a space for yourself, make things better for yourself. And along with that, and the First Amendment plays plays a great part in that there's very little restriction to ideas that are shared between individuals, and that way Americans are able to talk, able to have conversations, able to have discussions and debates, civil discourse about why someone has a certain idea, and why someone doesn't have a certain idea, and be able to hash it out and be able to go back and forth, and that's something that's also very important about freedom of speech, is that we're able to convey ideas without resorting to wanting to silence someone because they made us uncomfortable. Now there are plenty of people out there who want to change that, but I think that the cat's out of the bag. I think there are enough. Um, I think there are enough Americans out there who would happily be in opposite, who would happily uh, give a good resistance to that kind of behavior, and I'm one of them. I like saying things that I know push people's buttons. I like discussing certain topics that I know that it can be taboo. Even though there are some things that people talk about that I'm not really comfortable with, I don't go so far as to silence them. Um, because because it hurts my feels. There are some there I have close friends. They'll bring up topics that one of them who's going to watch this video, I'm pretty sure he knows what I'm talking about. Bring up topics that are just so asinine and off the wall, but they like to talk to me about it because they know that even though I know it's asinine and off the wall, I still I'll still engage. I'll still entertain the conversation, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's something that you really couldn't do in a place that has so many restrictions, where you can pick and choose your battles. You can have certain conversations. You can not engage in certain conversations, but still learn something from the encounter. You learn something about the other person that's talking and something about yourself. Now, to carry it over to America's love for firearms, I think if America is if America is a wilderness, it's filled with animals who understand it is in their best self interest to always be prepared for the unexpected, to be prepared for just the dangers that are out there. If you look at and I like to look at plants because I grow vegetables. Well, I noticed that many plants have different defense mechanisms. Cucumbers, I'm gotten pretty good at growing those. Their vines have lots of has like prickly points on them. Roses have thorns. You can I think it's you can I think it's you can imagine how a rose have grown to be such a beautiful flower because it had thorns protected over time from any predator that would try to eat them. Other plants I can think of, Venus flytraps. They have a means of getting their food and trapping insects. Pitcher plants, for example, they trap insects and digest them inside like their they have a kind of like a gut that traps things and ingest plants. Ingest the insects. And these are organisms that have created defense mechanisms and offensive mechanisms to ensure their survival. Segue that to Americans. Americans are we are what we are. I guess like I said, we're the epitome of man in his wild form, and that we have so many tools at our disposal. Whether it be from firearms or pen and paper, we're able to articulate and convey ideas, and also be able to defend the things that we hold dear to ourselves, whether it be our life, our liberty, our property, or even just defending our ideas. Uh, the ability to formulate your own ideas and not have someone want to silence you. We have that. That's something that seems. I think it's very foreign to other nations because they've had to be under someone else's heel for generations, for centuries. They had to follow someone else's protocol, and it's been done so many times that just to think of anything, doing anything other than that seems crazy. And I think Americans. I mean, if you look at from the outside, Americans appear to be very crazy. I think to survive with such liberty, you have to have a little bit of insanity in you, or at least a little bit of craziness in you, because there's a lot of there are a lot of dangerous things around you, but you got to be willing to take the risk to ensure that you're gonna take the best of those bad situations and come out on top. And so yeah, I think there's a little bit of I think there's a little bit of craziness in Americans to where we're able to accept the fact that people think differently than us, and we don't have to see and we don't have to go so far as to try to shut them up or alienate or really alienate them through use of or really get them to change their mind through use of force. We don't have to do that. I think Americans by and large we have that in us that we can accept other ideas. Now, speaking in general now, we're able to hear different ideas and we can go along with it or we can reject them, but we don't have to go so far as to hunt those down who have those ideas and put them to death, or try to torture them into changing their mind. Some other people may do want to do that, and that's why Americans, by and large, are armed because we recognize there are people out there like that. There are dangerous elements out there like that who would want to do things to us to put us under their heel, even of the Americans. And so we speak out against them first. We do that if their time allows for it, and we do all we can before we have to resort to going to these. But we always want to make sure that those are there because we don't know what the future holds for us. But we want to at least be prepared to do what we can to defend ourselves and protect other people around us, protect other Americans. And if we can, we'll protect other people who aren't Americans, because that's just who we are. So yeah, Americans may appear to be crazy, dumb, believe whatever we're told. What other kind of insults are out there? Fat, lazy, things like that. That may be the case, but I think we just have enough liberty to we have a certain amount of liberty that allows for mankind to branch out, for best or for worse, but be able to branch out and find limits and test them. And then after we gone past those limits, look for more things that we can, look for more boundaries we can push. I think mankind's always tried to do that. At least I would say here in the U.S. we do work within a certain framework. We understand we have to work within a certain framework while we're doing that. We can't push certain boundaries and needlessly harm other people in the process. Or at least we recognize that we shouldn't do that. And for those who try to do that to us, well, our affinity for guns comes into play in those cases. And I think that kind of like I said, this is just an idea I had, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about it. That I think America is like one big it's like one big wilderness, and it's just filled with many different organisms that have its best interest in mind and does what it can to protect its best interests, whether it be through communication with other organisms or through defense. And everything else that goes along with it are just things that just naturally spring up. Privacy, enjoying, just trying to enjoy our lives, not want to step on anyone else's toes, wheel and deal with others, do what we can to, ensure our best interests, while at the same time try and play well with others whenever it's possible. But tell me what you think. Do you think America is a wilderness like I do, and we're all just we're all carving out our little section of the wilderness to call it our own, or you think otherwise? If you're outside the U.S. and you find our affinity for firearms, just peculiar, share your thoughts. I like to hear people's comments, especially those who aren't Americans, and hear hear what they think, and I like to have those kind of conversations. I mean, because we can do that here. We can exchange ideas back and forth without having to worry about censorship for the most part. Sad to say that's not the case in other places that consider themselves democracies. But then again, maybe that's why we don't. Maybe that's why the United States isn't a democracy. It's a republic. Because we recognize that there are boundaries that that shouldn't be crossed when it comes to other people's well-being. But like I said, I just went through this video. Please leave a comment in the comment section. If you want to make a donation to the channel, so look for the give up that cheese button on the homepage, and you can make a donation to PayPal, and that'll help with projects that are done on the channel. Any gripes, complaints, feel free to send me a PM. I'll see what I can do to address them. But that's my video, just American Ramblings. I'm Edward Jones, and thanks for watching.